Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Longworth, and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you once again from the Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. We'll tell you more about them later on. And later on is when the roundtable shows up, and we'll get into all sorts of controversies there. So I hope you'll stay with us throughout the entire half hour, especially because we also have some other great guests and important information coming your way. So stay with us, will you? Where we want to start, though, is talking about cardiac rehab. It's an appropriate month of the year to talk about heart health, and we do that with this young gentleman next to me. Elijah Russell is an exercise physiologist with Northern Cardiac and Pulmonary Rehab, coming to us courtesy of the good folks at Northern Regional Hospital in Mount Airy. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me. Good to see you.
Let's just help us explain this in case somebody knows. What is cardiac rehab?
Absolutely. So cardiac rehab is a medically supervised program. It focuses heavily on exercise, and it focuses really on those individuals who have had, like a heart attack or any sort of open heart surgery. And we just try to help rehabilitate them to get back to their normal life because, after a traumatic event like that, a lot of stress on the heart, it may not function as good as it once did. And our ultimate goal is just to really try to get them back to where they was.
I'm not kidding around with this, but the fact is, some people say, hey, wait a minute, Elijah, I'll just go to the gym, work out myself. But you guys do a lot of special things and take care of people. I mean, it's different.
Absolutely. We always tell people is because they come in, they like to say the same thing, is we actually monitor their heart rate, their heart rhythm. So it's really something that you can't exactly get at a gym.
Right. Now, where would this take place? If I've had a cardiac event, I need to go through rehab, I want to get in touch with you guys, and we'll put up some information on the screen in just a few minutes, but I want to get in touch with you. But if I say, okay, I'm going to sign up for cardiac rehab, where does it usually happen?
So what actually usually happens is somebody has an event, and say a heart attack, like I said, an open heart surgery of some sort, and usually what we get is a referral from their doctor.
Okay.
The referral's faxed in, and once the referral's faxed in, then we make the call and set up an appointment, and then from there we just take the necessary steps to make sure we're setting this individual up the way they need to be set up.
And would they come to a special office or clinic that you're working at, or would they go right to the hospital, or how does that happen?
We have an off-campus site. It's located right behind the hospital. And
Very convenient.
Yes, sir.
Very convenient. Now, what are you sort of touched on this before, but what are the overall benefits of cardiac rehab?
So there's many benefits to cardiac rehab. If you want to look at it from a financial standpoint, it's actually very cost effective as opposed to, all the medications, which are good, but, it's a very cost effective method of treating any sort of heart disorder. From a physical standpoint, you have lower rates of death, angioplasties, open heart surgeries, and actually there's been shown almost a 50% increase in the 3-year survival rate in those who participate in cardiac rehab as opposed to those who do not participate in cardiac rehab.
Man, that's amazing.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned cost, so let me ask this. Is what you do covered by insurance?
It is. Most private insurance companies, Medicare, Medicaid, they'll cover cardiac rehab. But if you ever have any questions about that or anything, you can always give us a call and we can always check into it for you, or you can just call your insurance provider directly and they'll be more than happy to let you know.
Because as you said, again, this is a medical-based thing. This is not just like going to the gym and working out. This is a very specialized thing where you're working with people and getting them back where they need to be. And it's like a medical procedure kind of thing, and so it's covered in most cases. I want to put up a couple things on screen. You can call 783-8448 if somebody wants to make an appointment. I think that's a general number they can call. And then up on screen is a general website that I want to mention, which is a great website, choosenorthern.org, for all sorts of general information about the services and programs that are provided through Northern Regional Hospital, and it's a very important website to check out. Elijah, I can't tell you how glad I am you're here, how important the work you do. You're actually saving lives because you're giving people extra years to enjoy life and getting in shape. And I thank you for all you do.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be here.
All right. You come back sometime?
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, and always glad when we can spend a few minutes with the good folks from GTCC. And I've been hearing a lot about something called the Career in College Promise, and I want to find out about that. So, because I do, I'm pretty smart sometimes, and I said, well, how am I going to find out about it? I'm going to go to the expert. and she happens to be here with us right now. Linda Whitlow is Director of K through 12 Partnerships for GTCC. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
All right, let's talk about this Career and College Promise program. Tell folks what that's all about. What does it mean?
Okay. So Career and College Promise is North Carolina's program for dual enrollment. One of the benefits of the program is students have an opportunity to try on college early while they still have the support of their parents, their high school counselors, and their principal. They also get to see experience that academic rigor of what a college class is like.
So you mean if I'm a senior or something in high school, I can be going and taking classes at GTCC? I mean,
Definitely. We've got over 1,600 high school students taking college classes at Guilford Tech this semester.
Wow.
The program is for juniors and seniors in high school. The tuition is waived for them, so they only pay for their fees and books.
Well, that's kind of a leg up on your higher education right there, isn't it?
Exactly, it is. They end up saving a bunch of money as well as time.
Now, is there a fee for this, for the high school juniors and seniors who want to take advantage of this? Is there a fee involved? I know you said that you waive the tuition, but is there any other costs involved? Or?
Yeah, the students are responsible for paying for their fees. So if they're a part-time student, it's about $53. If they're a full-time student, it's about $98. And then they are responsible for paying for their books.
Let me pick at you for a second. I know you said it's for high school juniors and seniors, who have that drive that I want to try this out. This is great.
Right.
But now, you can't just get flooded with every high school junior and senior. I mean, how do you know who's qualified, who's going to do it? How do you decide?
So students need to have an unweighted GPA of 2.8 or higher, and they're also they're getting the recommendation of their high school counselor or principal to participate in the program. So they need to have been doing pretty well in their high school classes.
Yeah, and so you can use the high school counselor as sort of a referral point to make sure we're getting folks that really want to be there.
Yes, definitely.
All right, now as I understand it, you sent me an email one day that said there's two different pathways for students to follow through this program.
Right.
One is college transfer. One is career technical education. Comment on each of those. Let's start with college transfer. What do you mean?
Okay, so with the college transfer pathways, it includes classes that are guaranteed to transfer to all of the state universities in North Carolina. So it's going to be like your English, your math, your social sciences like sociology, psychology, the classes that you're going to have to need, or you're going to have whether you're transferring or whether you're going to get it to your technical degree. You still have general education courses.
Right, and I come in and say, hey, my goal is I want to go to UNCG and I want to be a history professor someday. Well, you're going to know from there, what path to put this person on.
Right.
Career technical education path.
Yes, so those pathways allow the students to get some hands-on experience in a technical field. They can come in and try out aviation, welding, automotive. Got lots of information tech pathways, fire protection. There's lots of different opportunities. So they come in and they get to kind of see what it's like while they're still in high school.
And on that career path, I know that you guys do a great job in trying to adapt curriculum from time to time for area business and industry, because you keep a lookout for what people really need in terms of who they need to hire, right?
Right, exactly.
Now, when should juniors and seniors apply for that? Is there a time frame or what?
There is. We're accepting applications now. The priority deadline is actually March 15th. If students have their applications in by that deadline, they get to register early for their classes.
I want to go a little over on this. I want to get a plug in for something. Thursday, February 17th at 6 p.m. I understand you're hosting an event. It's like an information session. What's going to go on there?
Yeah, during that information session, I will tell the parents and students about the program. We'll go over the pathways, and I'll also answer lots of questions from both parents and students.
Just like you answered my question.
Yes, definitely.
So say that you can, but there's so much more you can find out. So folks need to go to this on February 17th. That's at 6 p.m. Now, for general information, though, up on screen is the website gtcc.edu, which has a lot of good information about all the different course offerings and everything. But Linda, I appreciate what you're doing for the kids.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to share the information.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, and an appropriate time of the year, well, actually any time of the year is appropriate to talk about heart health and caring for heart patients, and there's different ways you can do that. And we're going to speak with a young lady who's been with us before. We're so glad she's back. And we're going to talk about a special kind of cardiac care. With me right now, our good friend Christy Sharpa, who's Senior Director of Practice Management for Mountain Valley Hospice and Palliative Care. Welcome back.
Thank you.
You sent me an email saying that we wanted to talk a little bit about something called advanced cardiac care. Now, what is that exactly?
Well, for our hospice patients who join our program, those folks have a special set of circumstances and symptoms. They can often be feeling okay and get real uncomfortable really quickly. So we want to be able to address those symptoms really quickly. So we've joined with American Heart Association and National Partnership for Hospice Innovation to create a program where we can have certain medications and responses set up in the home so we can quickly address symptoms like chest pain, shortness of breath, and keep those folks out of the hospital, home, comfortable, and resolve that discomfort quickly.
Now, why is there such a focus from your standpoint on heart failure?
Well, it's just so pervasive. It's so common. You'll be hard-pressed to meet someone who doesn't know someone who has it or has it themselves. So heart disease is the #1 killer in our country. And on the journey of this illness, you have so many symptoms, and you have to change your lifestyle and sometimes your diet, and it affects your personhood. And so on the hospice portion of the journey, we're just really wanting to help people live as well as they can with their symptoms managed, to feel well, to have some energy, to be able to enjoy life, and keep them out of the hospital is the key.
Yeah. Now, who's qualified to actually get into your program, though? How do you decide that?
So anyone who's appropriate for hospice. So these are folks that have more end-stage heart failure, perhaps a prognosis of 6 months or less, although that's not firmly delineated. But we figure that out in conjunction with the patient's cardiologist, with their primary care doctor. We look at their medical record, at their illness journey, and figure out if they are hospice appropriate. And then of that population, we look at the folks who have this advanced cardiac disease and put together these special medication packets and just some extra special nursing support.
Yeah. Now, if I have an elderly parent who maybe is a candidate for hospice but also has heart problems, would she or he be able to keep their cardiologist they've been seeing?
Yes, absolutely. We work hand in hand with the cardiologist. Oftentimes our patients will become really comfortable with us, and it's tiring to run back and forth to the cardiologist and all these different appointments. But so we'll just see the patient, but we can be the eyes and ears for the cardiologist and reach out to them and collaborate as to whether or not a certain medication maybe should be tweaked or changed. So it is a partnership.
I think that's great that everybody's teaming up. Okay, now I promised I want to talk about this downloadable patient guide. I think we even have a graphic on this. What does this downloadable patient guide tell us?
So it's information for the patient and the caregiver, everything from soup to nuts about what is heart failure, what is it doing in your body, what are the symptoms, what are the medications used to treat, what are some health interventions you can do from a dietary standpoint or weighing yourself daily to help ward off uncomfortable symptoms. It's kind of a user's guide, if you will, and we have it in English and in Spanish.
And easy to download.
Easy to download and easy to understand.
Even for a non-tech guy like me, I can download it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, why are you laughing? You know. All right. Now, also I want to show the general website, mtmvalleyhospice.org. MTN stands for Mountain Valley, hospice.org. Check that out. There's also a number on screen. Chrissy, thanks for all you do and for the folks and families you help.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, time to talk to Mr. Theater. And if you haven't watched the show before, number one, shame on you. And number two, Mr. Theater is this gentleman, Dave Riggs, director, High Point Theater. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Jim.
Before we talk about some great shows and concerts coming up, I want to just mention something I've been remiss in bringing up. And that is, most folks probably don't realize that you can rent facilities inside the theater. It's not just a great place to go for great shows.
That's right.
You have the auditorium, you have the gallery, you have the terminal. Quick comment on each of those.
Sure. Of course, the auditorium, it kind of speaks for itself. It's a 900-seat, beautiful performing arts space, and we are a full-service performing arts center. And then we have 3 gallery spaces that are also available for rent. So for a small meeting, for up to a meeting up to about 125, we've got those types of spaces.
So I can come and have a business luncheon, I can have a
Wedding reception,
reception,
personal dinner, if you want to get away from the telephones, but you want all the technology that we have, and it's capable there. And then the Mendenhall Transportation Terminal, which is right outside of our building.
Yeah, what do you mean that you can rent the terminal? I don't
Well, you
know.
rent the terminal, we block off the street. We can put barricades around it if you have a ticketed event, or if you want to have a concert out there, you can do that as well. It's a beautiful space, and it's mostly enclosed because it has
Yeah,
these
it's a big
glass
roof
panels
over it.
over the top of it.
Yes, you don't have to worry about rain or anything. Okay, that's interesting. Now, I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on
No.
this, but is it difficult to try to rent these spaces? Is there a big process
The
involved?
process is actually pretty simple. The hard part is we are so busy on the weekends that if you want a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, call early. If you're looking for something, looking in 2023, call me now.
Yeah.
And you can call me Dave, but you have to need to do it now.
Yeah, call you Dave. Or maybe do it in the middle of the week, and that seems okay. Let's get to some shows now.
Sure.
Friday, February 18th is an evening with the Machine. Remind us what that's about.
Yeah, The Machine is a top drawer Pink Floyd tribute band, and they've been doing this for I think 30 years now, and they are phenomenal. If you're a Pink Floyd fanatic, you're not going to want to miss this show.
All right. Now on Saturday, February the 19th, the Aldridges.
Yeah, Darren and Brooke Aldridge are phenomenal bluegrass musicians. Brooke has won the IBMA, International Bluegrass Music Association, Female Vocalist of the Year Award, I think 3 times. Darren has won a couple of awards, and they've won awards as a duo. If you like bluegrass or Americana music, this is one to see. These guys are great.
Now, originally, the show Hetty, H-E-D-Y, Hetty, was scheduled for Thursday, February 24th. Very quickly, let's remind folks who Hetty Lamar was and what's happening to that venue.
Sure. Well, Hetty Lamar, and it was the life and inventions of Hetty Lamar. We're moving that to October of 2022, and we're going to put a film series together. Featuring some of Hetty's movies, like Samson and Delilah.
Oh, wow.
And Ecstasy, which was avant-garde in
Yeah, I had
Italy.
a crush on her from Samson
Oh,
and
my
Delilah.
gosh, she's beautiful.
I wanted her to cut my hair.
I'm telling you. So we're really
Can I say
excited
that?
about that. Yeah, you did.
All right. But anyway, yeah, she invented all these great
She
things.
did. And our cell phone technology we have because of her. GPS technology we have because of her. The ability to arm torpedoes, for instance, is a technology that she helped develop. Remarkable inventor,
What a great
but
mind.
a
It'll be good
beautiful
to see
actress.
those films on
Yes.
there too. All right, one thing that has not changed, Saturday, February 26th, very quickly, John Reap.
John Reap is a wonderful comedian. He's from Hickory. He's known as the Ginger Beard Man or the Hemi Guy, and a very funny fellow. You're going to want to see him for
Up
sure.
on screen, I love this website, highpointtheater.com. Remember, there's 2 T's there, highpointtheater.com. Check that out for box office tickets. This is the quickest way and most economical way to get tickets, 887-3001. Call that number if you would. And you're going to stay over for the roundtable?
I'll stay over with you, and happy Valentine's Day, because
Yeah.
we're not going to have another show next week.
That's right. All right, you're saying a happy.
I will.
I'm
Not
your
to you,
Valentine? No, I'm
but
not
to the
your-
general public.
No, I'm not his Valentine. We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, just about time for the roundtable, but another quick shout out to the Senior Botanical Garden. Check out their website, it's on screen. Check out the garden, and you can rent the place. You can have weddings and all sorts of stuff here. You can have roundtable here, which is what we're going to do. On my right, but always the political left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster and journalist. And behind him, we have held over Dave Briggs from a previous segment, the director of High Point Theater, and Keith Granberry, founder of Helping Hands Consultants. Guys, the first 2 stories I want to do very quickly are about the Winston Weaver fertilizer plant, coming at it from 2 different angles. First, we know that the fire came dangerously close to igniting 600 tons of ammonium nitrate, which could have just blown a massive hole in the city. No one was injured, but 2,000 families, over 2,000 families were displaced. Over 25 different local, state, and federal agencies had to come in and deal with this thing. Here's the question. Should the plant owners reimburse the people who were dislocated from their homes, and should they reimburse taxpayers for all that money that was spent on cleanup and investigation? Ogie.
I don't think, well, it'd be a nice gesture. I wish they would reimburse that. There's a lot of expense for people being displaced. But getting the firefighters and the first responders and inspectors in is kind of the cost of doing business in those agencies. So I don't think you could do that.
Dave.
Yeah, I understand that they've already set up a fund to help offset some of the expenses for folks who were displaced. I don't think it will be enough. I think there's going to be a class action lawsuit here that will help that. But you also have other mitigating issues with the fallout from the debris, from the
Right.
chemicals that will
That's
also
right.
have to be cleaned up.
Keith.
I think it's a safety issue, but I do think that they should bear some of the costs, especially with the displaced residents. But the firefighters and stuff, that's what the city's there for.
All right, the second part of this is there were no sprinklers or fire alarms there. Now, remember that the dangerous explosive stuff didn't catch fire, fortunately. But the fire alarms and the sprinklers could have helped mitigate the fire where it was. They didn't have it because the building was built in 1939, which was ahead of the code that came in the 50s requiring it. So they didn't put any fire alarms or sprinklers in there. Guys, should the General Assembly pass emergency legislation to get rid of these grandfather clauses when it comes to health and safety, Yogi?
I think they should, and I'm kind of dismayed that the company itself with fertilizer, I mean, they should have done that on their own, but if they're not going to do it, it ought to be regulated.
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah, some of those fertilizers can't be put out with water. They need different type of fire suppression. I do think that there needs to be a law about that, and at the expense of the company.
Right, Keith.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a law, but I think also one of the things that we're missing is that if I'm a worker in there and they don't have fire alarm and sprinklers, there should be a class action lawsuit from the workers against the employers because they're in an unsafe work environment. That's just not right.
And there shouldn't be 600 tons of that explosive
No way.
material
That's
sitting
just
there.
so dangerous
That's too
for the
much.
workers.
All right, due to nationwide staffing shortages, a number of governors are now calling in National Guard, state bureaucrats, and policemen to be substitute teachers in public schools. You okay with this, Ogie?
Well, it's kind of sad that we've come to that point, but I mean, if it's a last resort, I don't know what else they could do. Yeah, I guess I'd have to live with it.
Dave, you have a teacher in the family?
I
What
do
you
have a
think?
teacher in the family. I don't necessarily think this is a good idea. What kind of education do those people have that they're educated enough to train our children?
Keith?
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. I think we need to start paying our teachers more so that people be more attracted to the profession. It is one of the most important professions in the country, and we're not paying them enough, and that's why we have the shortage.
All right, even though it's illegal, congressmen are still profiting from insider stock trades. So one legislator has introduced a bill that would make it illegal for congressmen to even own stocks. Good idea or bad idea, Ogie?
I don't think you can do that. I think you could probably freeze whatever stocks you have when you take office, not buy or sell anything while you're in office.
Put it in trust.
Yeah.
Dave?
I actually agree with Ogie here. I think it really does. I think if you freeze it, then they can't go out and buy additional stock while they're in office. That doesn't keep them from buying it when they're out. But I think it's an interesting study to determine how much revenue these elected officials get while they're in office when they go in for a $165,000 job.
Yeah. What was it, Richard Burr? We talked about months ago, went into Congress with, what was it, Ogie, about $900,000 in assets, and he has like $7 million now with
Yep.
Keith.
You know, I know it's going to be surprising, but I don't agree with either one of them.
All right.
I think that you should not stop people from buying stock. They just cannot buy stock that they are close to. Because if you're an elected official and you're in office for 20 years, I mean, does that mean that you're not going to be able to assist your family?
So you
have to stay away from those stocks, but I think you should be able to buy stock.
as long as it's not conflicting.
Yeah, and they shouldn't be able to stop them from selling stock or buying stock.
All right, here's a PC question. California recently passed a law that requires all large retailers to have a non-gendered toy section. Good idea or too politically correct, Ogie?
I don't know, Jim. That's a little bizarre to me, but I guess it's not going to cause any harm. I guess it's okay, but
Yeah,
The
Dave?
operable word here is California.
Yeah,
That's a bunch of nuts. Who needs that?
Keith?
The toy sections are already non-gender. Boys and girls play with different toys. I mean, we don't. I don't think we need.
I always considered you a non-gendered toy. But finally,
I don't know what that means.
due to supply chain shortages, Norway's military is now issuing used underwear to new recruits. Guys, would you wear used underwear? Ogie?
under no circumstances.
All right.
Although that does give a new meaning to the word commando.
They have to be very clean.
Well, you have to be clean. Keith, would you wear used underwear?
Absolutely not. No way would I wear used underwear. My underwear are new every day I put them on. I don't even wear the same underwear twice.
Yeah, there's something definitely new about you every day.
He's got Hanes stock.
Well, that's all the, I don't even know why I asked this question. That's all the time. Oh, except for this. Hey, researchers have now discovered there are 9,000 new types of trees in South America. Gracias, said one Brazilian dog. Dogs will lift their legs on. All right, for all of us leg lifters, we'll see you next week.